Oh dear, what's the... Oh, it's 8 o'clock. I haven't had my tea yet. I've got some pork chops, so it's a very easy meal to do. Just put them on a tray. I've got some bread. I'm still into this bread thing at the moment. I'm not going to have rice. And whack them under the grill for about 30 minutes. And that's a very delicious meal, which I've got to do because it's fresh pork chops that are in the fridge. They don't last that long. So I might actually nip out and do that in the middle. It depends how long this is going to be anyway. So, very topical, talking about Krishna's gopis, who is female disciples. Anybody that knows about Krishna will know that that is how it's portrayed, that his closest disciples were the gopis. And they adored him, so they're practicing a form of yoga, called Bhakti Yoga, which of course I know because that is what Krishna consciousness is. Okay? It's not just chanting, although a lot of people would, and probably even if they contacted it. Oh, you just learn the mantra and chant. Yes, but it's more than that. Everything is done in a devotional manner. The food is done in a devotional manner. And in so doing, it's transmuted into what's called prasad, which is like sacred food. Sacrament, same idea, see? Prasad is like food that's been offered to Krishna, and then when you consume it, it's like doing the grace, but even more direct. So that's one of the jobs I did in the temple. A small sample of every preparation of the food that the devotees are about to eat is put into beautiful little silver trays, and it's directly offered to Krishna. The monks saying prayers, and then it's brought back to the kitchen, some of it, and put back into all the various preparations in a big bowl of rice and things. Same theory, it's not the physical thing, it's the energy, get it? We're back to that thing, which is all the way through spiritual practice, this principle that it's not the physical substance, but the etheric or the auric of that substance that is significant. When I shared about making my shaman's mix, I stipulated very clearly less than 2% of that shaman's mix had marijuana in it. And so when I was busted, in inverted commas, the case was thrown out of court. Never actually ever went to court. So a lot of people in Murray area better watch out. I'm the different Graham Clark now, and I will sue the shit out of anybody I get to hear that has been putting around that I was a drug dealer. Blah, 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 that I got £60,000 from drug dealing, right? What was that? Yeah. I'm sure this went on. I mean, it's nasty to say, but, it was a very big public disruption for the lives of people in Lambride. Like I say, the road was sealed off because in gossip. Get it? Oh, he's got cola gas in there. See, everyone was trying. I know it's the psychology. Everyone's trying to be, oh, I know what's going on, sort of thing. Oh, yeah, he's got cola gas bottles in there. Of course, I didn't. And whatever. Who knows what was said to encourage the police perhaps to go further than they should, to encourage the fire brigade to go further than they should. But actually, my house wasn't damaged at all. It was just incense. And it's like thick black smoke, yeah. But when the firemen got in there, it's more vapours. Imagine a room full of incense. So they had to wear masks, right? Because it has been overbearing. And a lot of the incense is like oil. So that's why the black smoke. Oh, the places are got completely everything, all the wall, it's all black. One of my computers, the smoke had managed to get into the DVD disc at the side. It's a big iMac, and you have a slide, a slit, if you like, where you can put DVDs in. They've modified the design now. I've still got that one, and it does work. It just needs a bit of a clean, I never got insurance on these things, though. Oh, that's a thing as well I've never shared. I had no insurance. But as I said, the actual damage was minimal. I lost a lot of incense, and which was worth quite a few quid, obviously, but it burnt up. Big boxes of the genuine incense. You know, what you use in Spencer's, it'd be the same guy. Well, it is. It's the same mantra, which I'll put out again and again. In fact, I'll do a video about it. You know, please check live feed first. Okay, yeah. Make it humorous, but that's it. If you ever want to contact me or feel things, you go there first. Then you will connect in with me like these people have done, and you won't be persistently trying to engage me in a one-to-one conversation, which I'm afraid just statistically now is going to be minimalised. I've gone over the 5,000 limit, okay? And I've appealed and asked that it be up to 10,000, but you know, I respect the law of the land. Well, I can't do anything about it, can I? But I mean, I will just adapt to circumstance, because I've been given that figure to get as an audience, not so much through Facebook, but I've been told, you know, once I achieve that, then my level of ministry will change, because that is the mechanics of it. A person moving in the spirit, their address is obviously spontaneous. It's not written down. You know, a true minister in the spirit has nothing written down unless he's got certain things, out of which domestic issues to be sorted within the church. That's what Noel has. You have these sheets of paper, and there are things that all the elders have said, and that he's decided something needs to be said about. It could be anything, you know, congratulating someone who just had a child, all this sort of stuff, which is generally done separately to the ministry. Yeah. Then he just says, right, I forget what word he used, but that's it. But I don't have that yet, you know, so I haven't got a list of but I do often look down mine, like I'm now, quickly scan down my comment, and people could, should they have a burning issue, which I did have this guy from Pakistan who just said, can you get me a visa so I could quickly bring that into the ministry? No, I'm afraid I can't. You know, I'm not at that stature yet. I'm just, to most people, just a retired idiot. Yeah. Oh, I know that because of this fire. Most people have wrongly, even close friends of mine, consider me an idiot, but humour me. Well, to you close friends, I know you're doing that. Of course I do. And I'm afraid you might be in for a shock. Many claim they knew him, but he knew them not. That's scripture. Many claimed they knew him, but he knew them not. Again, that's glamour. Oh, do you know Graham Clark? Oh, yeah, I know him. Yeah. You don't. You've never met me. You've never shared and probably never even watched any of my videos. Yeah. But that's good for me, because you don't need fake friends. It's the last thing you need. Fake friends are just time wasters. Hello, Graham, can you help me do this and that, you know, hustlers. Hello, Graham, can you do this? No, I'm trying to put this charity together. Yeah? Yeah. And if you knew anything about me, yeah, you would know that that's what I'm trying to do. It's called the Fear of Unemployment. It's had a name change. It's now called Black Unicorn, which again could change, because what I said or channeled or ministered is it will be up to the initial committee when it does come together. That's the first decision they've got to make. Well, is it going to be Black Unicorn, or is it going to be the Fear of Unemployment? And I respect, I can have a vote, whatever that generally is the case, but I just have, I believe, just a casting vote. So if there's a split, or even if there isn't such a largish majority for one particular name, and I really do believe it should be the other, I have the power to say, I'm sorry, it's going to be Black Unicorn. Okay? Well, they can argue, but we just go along with that, and by their fruits, you will know it. In other words, it will become very successful. Many people gravitate to that thing. I mean, there's all the colour prejudice elements come in. Oh, he calls it black unicorn. That's cool. Then there's people that have even told me there is such a spiritual entity as the black unicorn. And you're going now way back into like Greek mythology, this ilk. And this is a chap in the Pindor Foundation who assisted having the document printed. A well-educated man, which I wasn't. And this is like in Greek mythology, come this sort of ilk, not sort of thing as average beings learn or taught, right? And he said, oh no, the black unicorn is a half man and half god. And it's from mythology. So it's again like an avataric, well, yeah, an avataric presence, but are not just. Avatars are still human. Tom Hanks pays the part. Oh, this is even talking about. If that's bothering you, just let us know, because I'm technically scanning a video. I can hear it clear myself, and if there's anything I think needs to be taken out or a slip, there's quite a few little Freudian slips in my stuff. And I personally believe a lot of them are inspired directly by William Shakespeare. He was a man of words. Right, a couple of them. I was being bothered by gay people. I mean, really bothered, trying to get me on the phone. Then when they did, they weren't wanting to talk to me. I could hear them heavily breathing. They were wanking themselves off, just to be crude. That was what was going on. But no, hold on. This is not. Stop them, and I'll put them on hold. Right? So they can't recontact me back. But one of the words I use in the ministry about that, I was giving a live example of what had been happening to me. I don't want to be bothered by people showing me their penis. Get it? Not penis or peanut, penis. So it's a word that's been altered, but very aptly explains what a meaning. What do people do with their penis who are gay? Shoving up someone's ass. That's Shakespeare. A brilliant crafter of words. You look at any of Shakespeare's works, all had this same phenomena. Words would be twisted and used in a different way and slightly said differently, but it's clear what he's implying. Like that, it's clear I'm talking about penis, but it's penis. It's brilliant, right? And it's funny for those certain intellectual people. Wow, yeah, that's good, brilliant. Because I am moving technically as they see it in an anger, but you can see this perfect control. This is interesting. It's talking about the name of my house. Which one's that? Oh, it's gone. Fairly recent one. My house is named Roslyn Cottage. And that's how it was named before, I moved in. And it's before all the Roslyn Cottage, obviously, films are released. Right, but all the locals, Roslyn Cottage, and the previous people in it just live over the road, although they've had a marital split up. You get me? They were a couple, but the woman stayed and the man's moved off somewhere, so whatever. But yes, Roslyn Cottage. The number of the house, 6, if you're into numerology, has a significance. It clearly is saying I'm in the right place and at the right time. So all my impetus to just bolt off to Thailand are tempered. I have got some work here, and until I get that financial breakthrough, I'm stuck here in a sense. And although I have 2 wives in Thailand, a goddaughter now in Indonesia, so I've got a family. I am a family man. My goddaughter's beautiful. She's got 3 children and a dog. Perfect. Me, I love, great. Moving there tomorrow, even though it's an old shack. Yeah.
All the time.
But she obviously wasn't coincidence that she made contact with me. And the way she contacted me, she wasn't trying to do the normal thing, you know, looking for a sugar daddy. And again, I've got the wrong impression because of this 500,000, whatever. I mean, that's just whatever. It's all part of the trip. See, I'm continuing to keep that alive because I want insurance that they are taking the right action to get whoever was responsible for that arrested. Now, we can go through many I can share as I see it. The 2 times I've contacted the American Facebook customer service departments, it was a good, genuine number because it's on their page. Both of them are very negative experiences. I sensed absolute fear and reticence. You know, they knew who I was. And yet they couldn't have done, so don't use a phone. You know, I go through Skype, there's no phone recognition, but it's just probably my voice or whatever. You know, sense the fear. And the first response was just after a minute, not in there, hung up. But I wasn't put off by that. Obviously, you might do. If you see as a very sensitive person, would take that as, oh dear, I'm doing something wrong here. No, I'm not. This is the first direct communication I've had with these people that purported to give me £500,000. So all you people are taking that at you. Oh, he's stupid. He doesn't know it's a scam. Where? Speak to the devil. No, it's an Arabic, but it is generally them who would have been gay. You know, just the script. It's again, it's so prolific in the Arab countries. It's different. And I'm not an expert. I've never been to the Arab Emirates or any of that. But from what I see, these are the sort of people that, you know, because it's part of their culture, that's cool to do that. And they're wrongly perceived or been told by certain things like the Illuminati, who are an organisation I'd bury anybody to have anything to do with. I was contacted by the Illuminati, and the pitch clearly was, how would you like to be rich and famous? Okay. But this is other sources. You want to learn more about who or what the Illuminati is, go to Gaia TV. And you can put it in the web browser, you know, Illuminati, and it'll be umpteen films from different viewpoints. But anyone who's really aware knows what the Illuminati is. I'm being impressed about things they've done. You know, the famous films where it's portraying the woman who is seeking who she was, and they end up in Rosalind Chapel. And the man is portraying the role of a reincarnated knight, because that was one of their roles, Knights Templar, which is just the same as present day Hells Angels. Some of them that are generally in touch with what they're about. They are here to protect, and I do it clear, the Christed plural ones. No, I haven't lost it. And no, I'm not being stupid by saying I am Christed or have been Christed, because we're talking years ago. And people that have monitored me and know of the things I've done, everything I said in these videos can be substantiated and is true. The miraculous healings that I talk about were purposely done so that they were monitored. One man had done a runner from the psychiatric hospital, for those of you who get to see this, Ward 4. And so it's a very high profile thing. He had smashed up a church. He had done a runner from Ward 4 and had ended up at the River Findorn. Well, we could go into that because it's a two-way thing. I was there and he was there, and he was guided or sent to me because he did need help. And that's how our whole exchange. I'm going to have to turn the telly off. That's it. No, that's better. So I'm sorry. I mean, obviously, I'm counteracting this TV. I've seen this particular one. It's brilliant, actually. So there's no need to actually see it again. One of the most recent ones I've done. Now, the initial concept or inspiration of this, but it does all tie in. Krishna's gopis were female disciples. So this is an avatar. Same office, if you like, as Jesus, as Buddha was and what? Right? An avatar, a teacher, God on earth, many different things of the same, that ilk. But all his disciples are portrayed as women. They've got a special term, like gopis. And this is where I feel the Christian religion has terribly gone wrong. What happened to Jesus' dispensation? And Mary, you're like this, right? Because you know about the abuse of women at Bindorn or whatever, right? She wasn't a prostitute, which has been portrayed for hundreds of years. Via a male pope, Pope Gregory of the 15th century, right? And we can take this right back to Peter, who became the first pope. I know because I've moved in spirit. I took an agape in the Jesus Fellowship Church, and I did a ministry on, quote, the sufferings of Jesus, psychological, meaning it wasn't going to be a thing about the nails put in his feet and all this. This is another level of suffering that he had to incur. How much longer must I suffer them? This is the words of Jesus, to give you a portrayal of how unfortunately he did feel most of his male disciples were. They never really clicked. They had their own preconceived ideas of what Jesus was, and it's only Mary Magdalene that had sussed correctly, being a woman. She wasn't interested in taking up arms and killing the Roman Empire and overthrowing the Roman Empire, and that wasn't what Jesus was teaching. Okay? So all the male disciples, when we're in the Garden of Gethsemane, it's recorded, some fell asleep, there was a bit of resistance, when he was technically arrested and he got the betrayal. But the point I'm making is that Mary Magdalene wasn't a prostitute, and it was a male leader of the church, in inverted commas, exclamation mark, who was obviously being used by the powers of darkness. And when I did this enactment of the rebuking of the devil, which Jesus is reputed to have done, it was clearly shown and demonstrated it was being directed at St. Peter. The devil through him. And there's scriptures that can give you insight into, even the elect will be deceived. And this is the ministry that's coming through, because the other brethren were getting, hold on, even though they're not in the Roman Catholic Church, they're Baptists, right? Totally different stream. But thought, well, hold on, Graham, maybe you're now being used by the powers of darkness. But no, they allowed it, and it came through. And I rebuked the devil, but it clearly implied that it's actually going to St. Peter, right? Because I did it by the thing that it's St. Peter saying to him, because, all right, I'd better do it now, but I can't do it loud. Right. Jesus is sharing, I've got to do this. He knew what he had to do, right? I've got to do this, and I've got to go and be crucified. And this would probably be the very last time I see you, because he knew the guards were going to come. In fact, he even knew supposedly that the person that betrayed him did, but that's all set up. It had to happen, right? Judas, yeah? And the reaction I portrayed of Peter, but in contemporary language, because that's the way I'm in, leave it out, right? Contemporary language. You don't want to do that. And then I gave the examples, but if you do this and that, of course, I didn't share the exact examples, but that's what he's implying. He's talking to the avatar, God's represented on earth, and he's so out of it that he thought he had the right to actually tell Jesus what to do. Yeah. Total arse about face, isn't it? And this goes back and forward through the Roman Catholic Church. Let's stipulate people who are gullible that you must do this, you take the bread and wine, you must give us lots of money, and then you're in the club, right? Jesus never taught that. Yeah? No way. Jesus talked about the common purse, how we must share everything together. They were the first communes, if you like. Check out the book of Acts. That is what the Jesus Fellowship Church is, a community church, a living religion. People have everything in common. They have elders. You no longer have the freedom to have your own colour telly and all this. Everything goes through the elders first. But I obviously was convincing to be of a higher ilk. They did allow me to have access to recording equipment, get it? High-tech recording equipment. Because I wasn't going to use it for listen to rock music or whatever. And they did have rock bands. Then, in the Jesus Fellowship, that's, you go to a Jesus Fellowship outside a meeting where they've hired a big marquee and they go on what you call a mission. So they're trying to reach new people. That was all part of the thing there. The worship session was led by the own Jesus Fellowship band. So they had electric guitars, synthesizer drums. You listen to any of the Jesus Fellowship worship. They were the leaders, if you like, in living gospel worship. And of course, now there's many others that have catched on and, it's a brilliant thing to do. Younger people gravitate to that music. And they're not going to sit down as I've been, but I love it, and just listen to all the Handel's Messiah. Because I quote, or the Spirit uses, how I've just done a video of that, from the Handel's Designer. Listen to these lyrics. He was despised and rejected of men. It wasn't women. Repeat. He was despised and rejected of men. He was a man of constant sorrow. Sounds like a manic depressive to me. Someone who's up and down, someone who people don't really understand him. Another scripture. He was besides himself. Clearly referring in their sort of language, well, he's mad. He's off his head. Beside himself. Again, going back to so-called mentally ill people. Get it? That have been stigmatized. But it's an absolute nonsense. Again, talk about things arse about anus or penis or what. People with a psychotic tendency, which is my psychiatric definition, are potential geniuses. And they know this. Yeah? Oh, yeah, those open psychiatrists and people in America that have done exploration and have managed to get a person to come through their negativity so they're no longer paranoid and their whole life is just, and then their potential starts to come forth just like a flower blooming. And then they can, they know by the things they come out with and do, but it's now possible to have a brain scan. And it's just on the activity of the brain, right? Most average people only function on 5% of their brain. 5%. But people like me, people who are moving and do move in genius, people that do move in miracles, which means are not intellectually explainable. How do you bless a can of Coca-Cola, which I did, give it to someone who'd been heavily sedated, who I had promised to come and see, the same person I took into the River Findorn, and by dipping into the water of River Findorn and using ministry, wasn't baptism, but it's deliverance. When this water touches this person, blessed Father God may be released from any demonic influences that affect him. On the third scoop, and he was reacting and making, again, and then the third bomb, calm as silk. And I just said to him, "You okay? It's just like you've had a bad trip, but you're all right now, man. You got it together. You're okay." All his fear had gone. You wouldn't be able to go into a pub or anything like that if you're under a psychiatric, paranoid experience. This is a pub he'd never known. I said, "Well, look, what do you want to do now?" So I didn't tell him. That's the golden rule. "Oh, I think I should go back to hospital." I said, "Yeah." And so we both decided. We walked down to the Kimberley Arms, the pub well known at Findorm, where many of the Findorm Foundation members use. It's their local pub. Very nice pub. Got restaurant, seafood restaurant. Oh, I've been there a few times. It's one of my treats I do occasionally give myself when I've got transport, often on a Sunday, but as a treat going out. Of course, it's out. You've got to have an hour in a month. So I do this as well. The sort of spirit is tempered to everyday, real things. And yet, you've just been seconds ago talking about a very deep spiritual thing. Someone being released from a psychotic episode by just having water from the River Findorm that was prayed over, put onto them. And this happened and can be traced because we went back to the Kimberley Arms and he said, quote, "Can you phone the police for me?" Because he was being looked for. He'd actually smashed up a church in Forest. He told me all this and was feeling all guilty and that God was going to punish me. And I assured him he wasn't. I said, "You're all right." I said, "You've probably just been taken over by some powers of darkness, right? But I will now cleanse you of that and you'll be perfectly okay. And God is not going to punish you." Okay? So we're at the Kimberley Arms. I make a phone call. I said, "I believe you're looking for such and such." I won't say his name, but I couldn't remember anyway now. But he was the son of a very rich and famous Scottish businessman. Of the ilk of, the biscuit manufacturers, this sort of ilk. Very big manufacturing presence. I don't think it was a whiskey distillery because I'd remember that and I would put that name in because I do think that's rather a negative industry. But there you go, alcohol, right? This is Biff Falcon. A man's not a man who can't drink whiskey and rye. And it's a piss take of that attitude, the macho attitude that, "Oh, you've got to be able to handle your liquor." Blinking whiskey's filth. It's not natural. Get it? Wine's okay. It's a natural product. The production of the alcohol is stopped at a certain level. Get it? It's natural. Whiskey is distilled, meaning the alcoholic liquid, they got a name for it, is boiled and deliberately artificially increases the alcohol content. That's what can burn your tongue. In nature, that wouldn't be allowed to happen. The production of the alcohol is stopped. There's so much sugar in the wine, and at a certain stage or level of alcohol, it stops. Okay, wine's okay. We still got to watch it. I mean, everything in moderation, and hence certain churches do. We didn't use wine as the sacrament. We didn't in the Jesus Fellowship. So you can see I was brought up that way. Oh, you can bless anything, Graham. We use Ribena. So every Sunday, the big ceremonies they had, it was Ribena. There wasn't a drop of wine in the whole thing. And everybody was blessing it and treating it and turning it into a sacrament and gave it and spread it around. Yeah, do this in remembrance of me. But we weren't using wine. And God wasn't going to, if you conceive it that, "No, hold on, mate, you've got to use wine." Of course not, because it's adapting to the circumstances of the day. Many people do have alcohol problems. And many people that do have alcohol problems are the ones that we ministered to, are sleeping rough on the streets. So we did deal with some very questionable characters, and just like us, ties, tubs, and we were ripped off. But that's what we felt God had directed us to do. We had cars stolen very regularly. We give someone a home, getting them back on their feet, feed them up because they've been in a thing, a nice room. And then sometimes, if they're that way inclined, obviously, I don't want any of this shit. I'm just taking advantage of these people. And if you want evil, it's like they wouldn't know Christ if you're staring them in the face. That sort of evil, so out of it, because they didn't know the fantastic opportunity they were missing by leaving the Jesus Fellowship and to go back to their lifestyle. The cars are found, they're all insured, and it would just be a joyride most of the time. Sometimes if they were, how can I put it, is a further advanced of the criminal element, they would strip the cars down. And that was going on in the peace convoy. That sort of behaviour. People just go out, rip off someone's car, and just strip it down for various parts, and it'd just be left, or they'd burn it out, cover up the fingerprints or whatever. And that was an element of the peace convoy that I was involved with, and that did, another mini miracle, if you like, stop a riot. Must have been the riot police and that was me. I responded to the situation. And the situation was someone had thrown an axe through a policeman's windscreen, and it's like, that was it. That was a line that was crossed, and the riot squad were brought in big numbers. The media were tipped off, and they were all there with cameras, TV cameras, the whole works, right? And they were there at the top of the hill behind the bend. You couldn't see them until you actually got there, and then you turned right. I know, because I did go and see them, and with a house angel on my back. Oh, that's another instance. So that is another chapter of angels have physically met me and connected in with me and know what I'm really about. He came to protect me. He was my bodyguard. I wasn't harmed. And he did have a knife on him. I didn't know this. You see in a minute, this will make a brilliant film. So that's why I'm doing this. Yeah, I don't care. It's not me that doesn't act out. It's all based on truth, and they've got all the instances of, if you like, the life of an avatar. Real life, present day avatar. No speculation, which has happened with Jesus. No distortion of the facts that has happened with Jesus. We'll go around the circle again. Women were Jesus's true disciples. And when Jesus was crucified, it was women, including Mary Magdalene and his mother, who then became the offshoot to start the true Christian religion. Check out the film, Mary Magdalene, produced by women, and you'll see the two clips at the end. Apparently, yes, the current Pope, or a very recent Pope, has officially declared Mary Magdalene a saint, not the prostitute and the thing, and even used words, I think, the closest disciple known to Jesus. Because in the film it is portrayed, and that is correct. As far as oh my God, no. In the spirit, I'm clearly being told, yeah, this is how it did happen. And it was Mary Magdalene that became the leader. The women followed her because they such she does and did know what Jesus was about, and know that all this macho shit the men were into was that shit. Okay? And they had the courage, as it's portrayed her. She left her family, right, as we heard, but as a woman to follow Jesus, yeah, and her parents freaked. Her parents thought she was demonized. And you see, the scene is they're taking her into the water to baptize her, to release her from these demons that are supposedly leading her astray. Again, totally anus about face. Yeah. But she carried on, right? Did leave her family, whatever that may have entailed, did follow Jesus, And obviously, most of the time, as the film portrayed, she was the only woman, but she was allowed. Why? Because Jesus accepted her and saw her for what she was. And you see scenes like when Jesus goes to think he'd allow Mary to come and join him. Of course, she'd ask, sort of said, yeah, that's. Any of the male disciples, no, that's what he was getting away from. Yeah. And that's scriptural. It says that you needed to get away from the crowd. Then you've got a man in the circle handle, a man of constant sorrow, acquainted with grief, despised and rejected, and also many people were jealous. Get it? They joined his movement for their own enhancement and their own little power trip. Normal, in inverted commas, macho man trip. Men like that, that's where they're coming from, right? And it wasn't fulfilled. I'm going to say again, yes, he was crucified, and they fled, needless to say. Mary Magdalene was at the cross to see him go, and none of the Roman soldiers touched her. Many Roman soldiers had sussed the truth. Yeah, because the people that personally did do the crucifixion saw that he wasn't aggressive, wasn't angry at them, and how they would imagine someone would be who's being unjustly killed, or the term crucified. No, he was an absolute pure love. He loved those that despised him, that rejected him. That's the path. And Mary did follow that path. So she didn't try and stir people up to retaliate, take up arms and all the nonsense that was going on. No. I reckon there'd be some interesting, prophecy. I think there's going to be more scriptures found that will talk about the life of Mary Magdalene, because it was obviously all recorded, and she did perform miracles. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Obviously she did. To me, but any male who's stuck into that wrong, if you like, corrupted stereotype, which is still today with us, women have had to fight for the right to be a priest or a minister, and it still isn't absolutely accepted. Okay? It's a long time coming. Bob Dylan as well, Slow Train Coming. Brilliant LP. You might be the president of the United States. I think it's USA. You might be this and that. But everybody's got to serve someone. That's the punchline chorus, right? Go through all of this. You might be a big pop star, musician, or whatever, all the things, whatever. But you've got to serve someone. You might serve the devil, or you might serve the Lord. And this is for all those people that ridiculed Bob Dylan. Well, he's gone religious. Just become aware of the truth. That's what he was, a seeker of truth. And a man who put his beliefs to the test, did go on the road. Like a rolling stone, no direction home. And I followed that path because it's scriptural. The Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. But then they're encouraged, just as the foxes and the things are fed, how much more so do you think you will be? I've done this 3 times, test of faith. I deliberately did it. I signed it. I'm watching the time. Signed off the dole. Yeah. Got on a boat. I've had some money or, save that. And went to a foreign country. Yeah. Spain. And although there's been other trips. No, sorry, yeah. I've been to Crete, but following the same path. Yeah. Landed in Crete. I had no dole to, give me support. I just lived on the wits and what God would provide, and wasn't believed in the prayer. You can't always get what you want, Mick Jagger, but you get what you need. So I lived by prayer and did never starved, Did meet a person who we teamed up with, but in Crete, I was driven back. Yeah, driven back in a Mercedes Benz because some German students had befriended me, and quite fascinated because you know how they're into appearance. I was very physically attractive. Say it myself. My routine every morning, so I had a natural suntan, which was used by using the seawater as a natural sun lotion. It would dry and you'd get a crisp of salt get me on your skin, which is very good anyway. So I didn't use sun lotion. My hair was washed in the sea and all brushed forward. You get me? And I faced the sun, which is again a yogic thing. I could feel the sun, obviously on my face. My hair was being dried in the sun. Then after it was, because of course seawater was deposited in my hair, and so I rinsed it in fresh water, this brilliant trough, which was for the goat herders. This is why I better tell you, you want a place to really connect into nature, not be in some stupid hotel, but got all your basics. So you've got water, you've got toilets, there's a car park, because Spy is owned similar to where I went in Phuket by a monastery. So it's holy sacred land, right? And they would allow tourists who weren't into blasting out loud music and that, and who respected the space, and who just put a little tent on the beach. You could do a fire as long as you're responsible, which we were, because that's what it attracted. There's nothing there. One little restaurant, but it's more like a shack, you get me. But it just really served fresh feta salads. Very healthy foods, feta cheese, local olives, olive oil, some cabbagey, lettucey sort of things. And you could have a big slice of bread as well, and that was your meal. And you weren't being ripped off. You were charged exactly the same as the local people were. Another thing I want to be a travel salesman. We liberated the Cretans in the war, right? They've never forgotten that. So Germany actually occupied Crete. We, the English troops, went in there and liberated it. In minutes, as soon as they sussed your English, and joke here, are you English or American? It's not like that. It's done for humour. But you're told, have your passport on you. Oh, no, me English, me not American. Different attitude to me. So that's serious. Right? But as soon as you identified yourself as being of English, you didn't pay for your drinks. Everyone thought it was an honour. I didn't drink much anyway. No, could I buy it? Oh, yeah. And as soon as I said, would you like another drink? Yeah. The publican would offer you food. Well, I'm hungry, And they also had hors d'oeuvres. Get this. It's just part of the custom. So you sit down at a table, order a bottle of wine if you're with a few mates and celebrate, and they bring out octopus, all hors d'oeuvres, octopus chopped up. And once you'd eaten that, really delicious seafood, very good for you, right? All free. You could live. People did, just go and get a bottle of wine with a few friends as well, chill out, and you'd be brought these hors d'oeuvres up, freshly cooked, octopus, whatever, Woof, amazing place. And I was obviously led there. I knew nothing about Crete. Get it? I went to somewhere else first. I can't even remember. Oh no, because Crete's an island. I did. Oh, yeah, I did. Right. I flew directly to Crete. Obviously, I liked it because it was an island. That was why I was fascinated by islands and water. I've since learnt that a recent channeling, which you can't see, reputed to be Mother Mary, but of course we're all well aware there have been many. You've got Fatima, right? Thousands of people know the reality of that Mother Mary is one of the avataric people that does often make her appearance known at Lourdes and this, physical aspiration, physical manifestations, and it becomes a place of pilgrimage. Well, just over the road from where I was staying, a very famous within those that know channeling, and I'm looking at now, purports to come from Mother Mary. And it's beautiful. It's a feminine teaching. Get it? Not macho male stuff, feminine. Mother Mary. And it's beautiful. She's not telling you what to do, or, it's not macho at all, but a beautiful thing. And that's been on my altar now for years. I've got Chenrezig. If you know, Chenrezig is, again, Mother Mary, home shop you can get where you open up icons. I've got icons of Mother Mary. I've got one that's got the sacred soil. Comes from Israel, and you've got an actual sample of thing. And then there's Buddhist pictures of Buddhist teachers I've connected in with, all on the same shrine. I could show them. Then my central shrine has got a tanker, if you know what that is. It's a drawing, but it's made of material, really. But it is painted as well, of a Bar Buddha, the Buddha of infinite light. So many different manifestations of Buddha, right? Then I've got White Tara, which is well known within the Buddhist, again, a female aspect of Buddha. White Tara, it's female. Then I've got Chenrezig, again, and then it's got other incarnations of Chenrezig around him. And then at the bottom, you've got what you call the Tibetan Buddhist, wrathful deities. Yeah. So this totally blows out all this stuff about a spiritual person doesn't express anger. Anger's got no place, which I've had said about me. Places like, the Findorn Foundation particularly. Oh, yeah, I was clearly told by my friend within the foundation, Lex, who's the printer, Graham, there's been a big meeting. It's not just about me. It's been a big meeting, and by a majority, it's been decided they don't want you to come to the site. But I stuck up for you, and I said that I'm not going to be happy with that because Graham's given me a lot of business. Can he please just come and visit me in the printing press? So you go, if you know the foundation, there's a printing press just before you go up to the Blue Angel Cafe, and that's how I used to park my bike, my scooter. So if on you are there, so I've had a unique BMW scooter, the C1, and then anyone who's particularly paranoid about me would know to avoid. Let's sort of go elsewhere because he's here, and you don't want to bump into him or whatever, right? Paranoia. And but I've recently done a channeling or a ministry to that effect. It's about time we bury this hatchet. I share my side of what took place the last time I was at the foundation, where, funny enough, I was doing this. So imagine I'm sat in the Blue Angel Cafe, but not the area where the main cafe is. You go up some stairs, and that's what this area was used for, an overspill. You get, if it's full or busy there, you could go up these steps, quietly take your coffee, decline, and that was it. But I was doing this just now, right? See, all I'm doing now is sitting in front of a laptop that has its camera, and I'm talking into it as if I am talking to people. Well, obviously, but this is channeling, right? So, yes, someone probably seeing me from the side, or what? He's like, he's talking to himself, mumbling, and, or he thinks he's talking to someone. Okay? Many people do this. It's a brilliant way to make a quick movie. Just plonk yourself down in front of your laptop. If you've got a Mac, go on live. So you've also, this is actually being broadcast for anyone who, well, I can see people are listening to this now, right? Not many, maybe about 15, just off the top of my head. There's only 2 comments. Yeah, nice, right? And so you're doing another how can I put it, form of magic in the context when two or three are gathered together in my name, my presence is felt. So it's basically saying that this is happening now. Some of these people, obviously, I am linking in with them. They are affecting the ministry that's coming through because it could be something for them. Because the spirit can respond to them. Say someone's got a sick daughter, anything, right? I'd be inspired to suddenly talk about sickness or thing and even ask. It's like mediumship in a sense, because that's generally what happens in your average mediumship. But it's totally that. To prove the existence that there are people that live beyond the physical body. The nature of the messages are all of that ilk. Right, is there a John Wallop here? And because I've got your Auntie Mary here. And then they go for a thing and it either one way or the other, and it convinces the person his Aunt Mary was there because she'll say intimate things. She says that you were doing this recently. And the person has to think, oh, yes, that is true. It's proving that they were watching over them. Similar idea to guides, And certain cultures, that's very much part of their culture. It's not so much as has been distorted. It's not ancestor worship, but the ancestors are acknowledged. And they do offer incense up to their ancestors. Do not think they've gone, but they're on another dimension. And do believe they will see them later when they transcend and pass out of their physical body. But it's nice to them that they think that their Uncle John or their father who's passed on is still keeping an eye over them. Well, this is but a bit of an inch up. I've been through the Spiritist Church. I understand the mechanics, I'm not freaked out if I don't hear voices, and if I did, I wouldn't admit it. Because there are certain ignorant idiots that declare that I'm schizophrenic. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's what happens to a lot of people like that. They go to a doctor that hasn't got any understanding of these. You'd be better going to a spiritualist church. There you go. You're hearing voices or you're having a phenomena and things are happening around you that you can't explain. Go to a spiritualist church. And you can even connect into that online. Hello, I live at whatever, Timbuktu, wherever. Don't know of a church nearby, but you'd be surprised how many people move in house meetings. So they haven't got a church. They haven't even got it together to rent a theatre like they've got in there. I think it's called the Little Theatre, and they used to be regular. And they don't have things as another little group that a normal church allows them to use it. But it's a spiritual meeting. It's an address, and there's a demonstration of clairvoyance. Again, these are open-minded church people who don't think it's the work of the devil. It's a very good, needed thing to do. And obviously, yes, most people that are drawn into the spiritual church have just lost a relative. And that, for them, it's a very hurtful experience, a really closest relative, and they generally just want to know that they're okay. But then from that day on, those people suddenly have a different idea of what, spirituality is and what God is, and that God does actually exist. But they found a church that they can gravitate to. Get me? They can talk about people living on the other side and all these terms that are used within the spiritualist church. I'm giving a kick. 58 minutes. Anybody I know is not hundreds of years, so don't worry about it. Anyone who wants to, I'm looking, well, it says new comments 8. Well, I've gone right to the bottom. Someone's just said they've joined. There's no actual comment, because you can do that. You can type in, you can do that, put an up, thumbs up, because you've agreed with what's been said. Someone said nice. Yeah. But there's no one sort of, as I have had in the past, can you help me, as I said, and I need a visa. Very down to earth request, see? But when it's acknowledged, well, imagine how they feel. Well, at least he did, acknowledge me, but has said he can't. Fine. Haven't left them hanging up in the air. because obviously it's quite, well, he's from Pakistan, say no more. He's looking for a means to get out of the country, looking for someone that perhaps could get him a visa. As many people can, if you have certain statures. I could offer a job as an example, and that would allow him to get a visa. Yes, I'm going to employ you, I'm going to offer you a job, and that'll help him get a visa just like that, as an example, just off the top of my head. But I'm afraid I couldn't. But who knows? Well, it's just gone over the hour. It's 9 o'clock, so I don't need to worry about my neighbours. Would you agree? This isn't late. I mean, if I 1 o'clock in the morning and doing this, and people, because they pick up the vibes, you see, they're used. I was sharing about that, how my mother was used, very much so. Quickly go over that. My early years and my bringing up, which is in a house that's called, 2 Belmont Close, Stubbington, Hampshire, right down the south of England. If you're into ley lines, it's actually from one end of the country, Scotland, right down to the coast, a place called very near Leon Solent. That is the coastal place, but right opposite the Isle of Wight. Now you're getting it, and so it's dead centre. Boom, boom. So I went from one end of the country to the other. At a very early age, I was 2 years old before I started school. Left Arbroath because my father was in the Fleet Air Arm, and that's where he got posted. Leon Solent is a naval base. And we got provided, no, it's a private house. It wasn't naval. Let's say Belmont Close was a private estate, but just a little semi-detached bungalow. You get me, see your loft is joined with your neighbours, and so sound can easily travel through. And that's where me and my brother and all his, well, I can use that word, disciples, used to meet to turn on and have rock music like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, this ilk, not every. And yes, it obviously on occasion went over 12 o'clock. But my father only had to stick his head up and say, David, lad, can you now thing? But mind you, well before that, my mother she was clearly used by powers of darkness to stop it. She'd go to just not, can you stop that, please? To starting to scream, just completely went hysterical. And often, when she got like that, obviously my father had to have her sectioned because she was being used and she needed ministry. Whatever you want to say, demons or whatever, were clearly using her, get it to try and stop these people who are practicing one of the true religions, turning on, treated marijuana as a sacrament. Every joint was Father, Son, Holy Ghost, free skins. I'm not saying this is how it started, but that's a tradition that's passed right through the movement. Free skins was your basic working man's joint. I mean, you make all these fancy things, but that is it. Father, so it's the numbers here, symbolism of Father, Son, Holy Ghost. Right? Then it was offered generally just tap, as Hindu, just tap your third eye. And the chillum, most particularly, if you got a chillum, it's held in both hands, like you're doing the basis like that, and you go, boom, Om Shiva. Many Western people are familiar with all these Hindu things, and that's offering it to Shiva, which is a traditional way to offer anything that's a bit iffy. Hence, you offer meat to Shiva. And if you happen to have teachings that have told you eating meat's bad, that is a way around it. Offer it to Shiva. And same as your chillum, it was offered to Shiva and then passed. See? You go into India, you'll see gurus. They've got a special name that do this. Again, clearly demonstrating the sacredness of cannabis. And that's what they do. So they're not drug dealers, simple people with just loincloths and that, and gather together and take the sacrament together through a chillum, because it's a communal thing and it's passed around. And they don't sit there all day doing that. It could be just a morning ritual, midday ritual, sort of thing. They've got things to do. Yeah. But if they're going to meditate, that's true as well. They take Jilla and thing and probably spend, in the lotus position meditating, and no one's going to bother them. They've got the Shiva stripes. They're clearly indicating I'm a devotee of Shiva. And yes, people who are a devotee of Shiva, but shall we say, a more family man, will offer them obeisances and will, if you like, give them a little bit of money. They are like beggars, but they're beggars for Shiva. I was going to say beggars for Christ, but that's it, yeah. They're a monk, a wandering monk. I think they're called wandering sidhus, which is a term for someone on the path, but who just wanders from town to town, going wherever the spirit leads him, has no home, has no fixed abode, like a rolling stone, no direction home. Bob Dylan. Yeah. And on that note, it's 5 minutes, I think. No one's made any desperate, God bless you, because I've got to download this and it will be uploaded eventually it will be tonight, to YouTube. And I've called it, you see, because they're all dated, but it's better to watch. You can watch this on telly. You might not have a telly. It's for the future. When eventually people do get to know about me, and I'm being sarcastic, it's stored for posterity. Like any famous artist, it could be 10 years. It could be after I even passed from this life, but it will be there. And you can see for yourself, well, what did G.Clark teach? What did he say he was? No, he never said he was Jesus Christ. He said he was Christed, and said many other people are Christed. But he said that's a common trap for people who enter into these expanded states of consciousness, because he personally has released people trapped there by giving them ministry and prayer. My 2 DVDs called 1 in 100, which are in Elgin Library, and which I got public funding, so people had to watch them and make a decision. Shall we support this? I got a grant to get 2,000 copies published, and they were given out free. So there's not many people here around Elgin are sent to businesses, whatever, that remember or forget about how a DVD was sent to them. Brilliant cover, 1 in 100. They might have binned it. Some might have been curious to just watch it. Lovely covering letter, yeah. Oh, yeah, I asked for any feedback, didn't get any. Well, not much, but, saying, I'm open, or to enter into some intelligent discussion about it, or, you might have some reticence to what I was saying. Well, what do you mean prayer can cure? I said, well, yeah, I've done it. You can even demonstrate it. I'll use a pendulum now. And that means that anyone comes to me for healing, the pendulum allows me to connect into my higher self. And this is all scientifically verified, so you don't need to worry about that. You're attuned to your pendulum. You learn, simply put, what sort of movement for a yes and what sort of movement for a no. And it can vary a bit. Mine is like a clockwise rotation for yes, an anti-clockwise rotation for a no, and a side for side if it's neither yes or no. Generally indicating you might need to reword your question. So you just ask again, but in a different way. And I'm doing quick. Right, you invite in St. Michael, who is a protective. Blessed St. Michael, please draw near. Thank you. Blessed guides and helpers, please draw near. Shall I eventually get any satisfaction from this dispute with Facebook regarding this £500,000 donation, please? No. So that's telling me you're going to take the attitude, look, just forget him, he's some nutter, and we don't care. He never paid us any money, which I didn't, and we're not going to humiliate themselves, because it's basically admitting guilt in a sense, to use our resources to instigate some kind of investigation. Right? Meaning who did send me this and what. because it's technically, in my mind, they are morally obliged. I'll ask that as well, because it's been winding me up. Witnessed again, probably if it don't matter. Blessed St. Michael, please draw close. You don't have to see the examples, just for demonstration. Thank you. Blessed guides and help us, please draw close. Will I get an apology from Mr. Mark Zubrecker of Facebook, please? It's hard to. Well, it did look like it was going into a yes. Oh, it is clearly now. Well, yes. I mean, because I've just said an email. Poor words, dear Graham, I am sorry about what's happened. You know, going in more detail. He doesn't have to tell me, but we're not going to do anything to investigate it further. He just says, I am very sorry about what's happening. You could even say, please. Well, it's not really forgive him, anyway, just that. And it's an email. No hassle. He doesn't have to speak to me, risk having his head ripped off by, if he just went over a line, he would, even though, if I sense he's not really sorry, insincere, yeah. But from an email, I've got nothing to worry about. Probably worried about, because an email can be used against him in the sense that he did apologise, admitting it was his fault. You take legal advice on that. And if you are advised, Mark, not to send an email, although it said yes, many ways to skin a cat. We could enter into a quick video discourse. Either you give me a video means of connecting you. The equipment I've got, operating Apple. So they've got their own video service called FaceTime. And if you haven't, you soon get an account in. I'm sure you have, but and that's it. And I can quickly start a FaceTime, register it, and we've got our own private little video means of contact, and nothing going through. See, no one else can see that. It's not like this, right? And if you want it to kept confidential, fine. Quick chat on FaceTime, face to face as well. We see each other high, and I can sense things, and that's it. We might even become good buddies. I hope we can, because you'd make a perfect patron for Black Unicorn. That would give it instant newsworthiness, because that's what it's needing. Obviously, it needs money, but it needs publicity to reach the people who can perhaps form this committee to get it started. And it could, in theory, start in Scotland, but I'm free and easy to move. I've got various homes. I mean, I can do it from Thailand. I've told you I've got 2 wives in Thailand, which are waiting to meet me again, sort of thing. And I say wives, I mean, I haven't actually married them, but as I see it, as I've shared, if I slept and had sex with someone and lived as a couple, and as far as I'm concerned, we're as good as married. So there is that special thing. And no, I don't sleep around and have casual sex, in other words. And I have got an outlet for my sexual drive, which obviously if you didn't, you can't, you can understand the frustration and all the thing, whatever. And I've got a goddaughter in the Philippines, which would be a complete family to go and visit. She's got 3 children, 1 that's deaf, and a dog. And she calls me Dad. Well, because that is it, Hi, Dad, So she's got a good grasp of English. I'm afraid one of my wives has got a long way to go, bless her, but because she really is a simple peasant come farm girl and lives with her mother some of the time and plants rice. Very simple life. But we can understand each other and joke. And she, bless her, was last time I was there, she got her own, I didn't pay for her own little tablet device, and spent hours trying to learn English, because I'd be on the computer and she'd be sat in the room because of the heat, go out much until the sun started to go down, right? And so we spent plenty of time in each other's auric presence, and that we have obviously known each other from previous lives, and my name for her is Alma, which you all know is a mantra, but it's an excuse, isn't it? did it on the beach. I go, and she was just that busy. And then I moved, what's the name? No, it's nice, he's right. I moved into overtone. And the other people cracked up because it's like a persistent, it's a howler. Imagine after about 10 seconds of that, it's like, you know. The other people cracked up because they can see, they're brilliant to see the humour in it. Because it's like, I'm busy, you know, that way, right? A couple of times, you know, the voice, you know, come on, no, me be you. So then I did that, and it broke her down, right? She cracked up and said, you know, not like I could exaggerate it, but yes, what do you want like that? But it would have made it even more funny, you know? Like John Cleese. Yes, what do you want then? But no, she just came back and said yes. I said, I need water because I drink lots of water and that. And I had a bad leg. Let's get it straight. I wasn't some lazy fat farang, which is what we're called, because she treated my leg. She knew I'd got ulcers in my left leg. And imagine I'm in a very hot climate and I'm trying to start my charity best I can, still on the line, the computer. I remember I shared the incident about I'd just been ripped off by Western Union. I said it was another scam. But I felt secure that because Western Union had done the transfer of money, it's exactly similar to what's happened now, right? I had the name, an actual address of the person that was receiving the money I sent. And all it needed was the police of that end to do it. They could go and arrest her. I could get my money back or whatever. And it'd take her out of the sink. There was actually two of them, addresses I had. And so solid evidence. Police didn't want to know. And so anyway, the way I pursued it, in its humour, but cutting word, about 3 times a day on my mobile phone, I'd ring through to their offices, right? Because they hadn't, just like now with me, they hadn't acknowledged anything, you know, go through things like, well, at least can you send me an email of apology? Of course, I wouldn't do that because their legal advice, no, you're admitting guilt. So nothing, no response. Don't worry, go away and forget. There's nothing. No one's going to bother about that sort of thing, which is probably a similar attitude now. I wondered if I'd be getting the same response if I was an American citizen. It wouldn't really be feasible that I was a rich businessman. Well, no, why not? Yeah, we're talking about someone just being offered money because they're considered what they're doing is good. So yes, I could hypothetically be a rich businessman, and they've decided to award me the £500,000 and sent a certificate, and I could just hop on a jet and fly to California. Problem solved, you know. Yeah, I'll come. But I was clearly being impressed with guided that no, this isn't right. That I would have to have cleaned my bank right out. I probably only had 200 quid in it. The one woman that contacted me even said that. She even said, so I don't want to keep her, she'd lend me $200,000. Yeah? And I stupidly think that through. Well, okay. She's basically saying, I know this is true, and you're not going to need that, but it'd be enough for you to get started, which is what I've been moaning on, you know, in order to get his money, and that I could just pay her back. Well, you could knock me down. I wasn't getting his money, and then I'm 200, right, see it. But that's what she came down to, you know, well, what can you afford? And I think in the end, I just said, well, about £100, really, because I had other commitments. I've got my 2 wives in thing, and my step goddaughter in the Philippines, and my family now. And they come first, obviously. It's 20 past 9. It's not exceptionally late. And I'm going to ping up, like I say, upload it. Nice to have been with you. And I'll see you again, well, whenever soon.